have a plan that divides this master in 4 semesters. And the first 2 semesters are the academic semester, where you are supposed to take courses up to, for more than 38 credits here, which are divided here a little bit arbitrarily between 19 credits in the first semester and 19 credits in the second semester, can be obviously modulated. But what you have to take, and what will be your first concern, is the physics project 1 and 2, 8 credits each. And this is your research project that you have to do in a lab of the physics school. And I will illustrate a little bit these steps because it's easy for the people that have a bachelor at EPFL that know already what are the labs and so on, but it is a bit more difficult for you who are coming here from abroad. And there is also human science and society, SHS, and I will illustrate this program too. So this is the first year, and in the second year, you have to acquire still 60 credits, and these 60 credits are divided into half. During the first semester of the second year, MA3, you have 3 choices. You can take, and this is a novelty of this year, you can take an additional semester of courses for 30 credits. You can take a minor in another school of the EPFL, microtechnics or space sciences or something else. And you have the possibility also to introduce yourself into research. For example, if you aim at a PhD, during a research training semester, and we will see what is this training semester or semester of spécialisation in French. And then the final step of your master is the master thesis or master project that is during 4 to 6 months, and it also gives you 30 credits. The difference between the master in physics and master in applied physics, of course, is that physics is more applied. It's dedicated to technology in physics. Therefore, there are differences in both years. In the first year, you have also to take 30 credits, but 19 credits at least have to be taken in engineering courses that are from a certain list. Then you have, as for physics, the physics project and SHS. During the second year, you have also 3 possibilities. You can take courses for a semester, additional semester. You can take a minor, and you can have an internship in industry, which is strongly recommended because it gives you an experience in a company that, of course, if you are aiming to be an engineer in physics, will be very welcome for your CV. Then, for the engineers, there is a little bit of a difference, or there are 2 types of master project, because if you take the internship, so you have your 6-month experience in a company, then you can take a master project as physicist in a lab of the physics school. Instead, if you have taken courses or a minor, your master project has to be has to take place in a company, because this will give you this 6-month experience in a company for applied physics. You can see all the courses in this beautiful study plan. Of course, you have PDF copies, but what is very interesting is introduce the new site, if I can see, the new site of the physics school, which was architectured by Julien, who is here. He's the author of this new site, beautiful. And you see that if you click on Master Studies, it is a little bit slow. Oh. Let me see. have to end the show, maybe. It's better here. Here. All the internet is slow today. But if you go down, for example, to physics, here, and we go here to this plan. You have a touch screen version, and then if you want to see what is the plan of plasma 1, for example, normally it's not so slow, even it's much quicker. But today I think that everybody's on the internet, and the internet is on its knees. Okay, and you have here the whole plan, the credits, and so on, description, and so on. So I invite you to gauge this study plan on the internet site of the physics school. It's very user friendly, and it's beautiful. But let's get again to the presentation because. We have made also something new for the visibility of these courses. You see that these courses have been grouped according to the 5 different areas of expertise of the physics school at EPFL. So in order you to have a better choice of the courses, you see these courses are grouped. Of course, you can mix whatever you want, but here it's much more visible what are the courses in biological complex system, condensed matter physics, or quantum science and technology. We will find again these domains when we will talk about the physics project. So, and this is for the second year mathematics. So you can take up to 12 credits among the options of the chemistry and mathematics, for example, or some options from a list of courses that are approved in the engineering sections of the PFL that go into these max 12 credits. So to see this list of approved courses, I can show you what is this list. Here, you see that this list, and you see that there are options in génie mécanique, mechanics, microtechnics. You see, these are all courses that we consider as pertinent to all the other sections, and you are allowed into these other sections. And then, if all this offer is not enough for you, then you have another possibility. It's important to notice that the master project has to be under the supervision of a professor or a senior scientist, and a senior scientist, for example, of the physics school. That means that you meet a professor in another engineering school at PFL, let's say mechanics, and say, well, I would like to make my master thesis with you. It is possible, but the last supervisor, the person who gives you the grade of the master project, must be a professor of the physics school. And this is about the rule of all the schools at PFL. So you have chosen physics, you will judge by physics. This is a little bit the principle, and this is the article of the law of the directive that establishes that for the TP4, or what is called the physics project, so what you will have to do next, it's a little bit more flexible, but again, it's encouraged that you go, in fact, in the lab to test what are your aptitude, and then logically you should stay in the same lab all the time. So make the physics project 1, 2, and your master project in the same lab. This is ideal because during the master project, during the physics project, you get acquainted with technologies and with familiar with some calculus system if you are a theoretician and so on, and then you are prepared to make a master project which is really advanced research, which will issue, for example, a paper on a good journal and so on. So this is really the objective of your PhD thesis, to get a publication, for example. Okay, so in the aim of having a little bit an overview of the different area of research where you can choose your physics project, I will illustrate now the domain of research that you can choose appliquée. In order to introduce that, let's go back to our beautiful slide of the physics school. Here. And here you have this icon with IFIS, and this will give you the Institute of Physics site, where you have here the research areas. And you see that in the research areas, you have these 5 domains, the same domains that you find in your study plan. Astrophysics and particle physics, condensed matter physics, physics of biological and complex system, plasma physics, fusion and fission, and then quantum science and technology. Of course, these are very broad domains. We could have made 2 domains. One is astrophysics and the other is particle physics, which are quite different in fact. But this is to group a little bit the domains. And then if you click on these domains, you have, for example, for astrophysics, you can see here a list of the groups with under the supervision of different professors that belong to this domain. Some theoreticians, like here you see field and strings laboratory, theoretical particle physics, and so on, or some professors that are more experimentalist, like Professor Schneider, for example, who is the high energy physics laboratory. So, how many of you do not have yet chosen their physics project? Okay, so it's a minority, but still you are quite a number, and therefore your focus really in the next 2 weeks will be to find the laboratory of your choice, contact people, and say, okay, I'm a master student and I would like to have my project in your lab. Okay? And then now let's see a little bit more detail. What are these labs for? Here we are. And in this presentation, you will have a list of all the professors or doctors, that is a senior scientist, that are allowed to supervise a project in the semester. Plasma physics is one of the true specialties of appliquée. We have a tokamak reactor It is not capable to produce fusion reaction, but close to it. And EPFL has a very long tradition in the study of plasma physics with some original plasma heating systems. And therefore, if you are at EPFL, you are in one of the few universities that can have a plasma reactor where you can make your practically your experiences under the in a real machine produced plasma. So of course we collaborate with the project ITER in Cadarache, and it's maybe possible also to do some work there, because Cadarache is getting ready or still under construction, but there is a lot of good opportunities for the physicists there. If we talk about fission as well, you have a great chance as well, because EPFL is one of the few universities in Europe that still has a fission reactor working with uranium, where students, even at the bachelor level, can study fissions in a true reactor. It's a critical reactor. Well, not very powerful, maximum power 2 kilowatts, normal power 200 watts. So it's not, but it's a big machine still to produce it. And of course, now for some years it was only dedicated to semester project, but now it has been used for some months also as a research reactor. So it's quite interesting also there to make research if you are aiming nuclear physics. So let's come to astrophysics and particle physics. Of course, with the proximity of CERN here at EPFL, there is a strong hook in particle physics, where you see here name of some experimentalists or some theoreticians like Riccardo Cazzi, Lecia, and Mike Seidel. Mike Seidel is instead in PSI near Zurich, and he is making research, but more in accelerators. And we have some quite interesting projects in astrophysics with several professors that you see here. And of course, also some theoreticians like Joao Penedones. EPFL, as an engineering school, has a long tradition as a school in the study of condensed matter physics. I've chosen a little bit some domains in this area, nanophysics and nanostructure, like here. This is the domain of Professor Brune or Professor Anselme. You see here a specialty spintronics, Dr. Harbish Musconi. We have Professor Hebert, who is a specialty is electron microscopy, and Professor Lugodil. Of course, condensed matter physics is also the domain of materials physics, new materials physics, soft matter, high pressure phases. Here are the name of some people working there, Professor Ronoff, myself, Daniele Mari, and Dr. Arno Magret. So my specialty is materials physics, or study investigating the physical properties of, in particular, the mechanical properties of material from the physical point of view. Condensed matter physics is also quantum devices. You see here some of the physicists that are working in the field, or nanostructure that are producing some interesting quantum effects. And of course, in every group there is a group of experimentalists and a group of theoreticians, like here, where you can make simulation instead of condensed methods. Since, I would say, the years 2000, the physics of biological system and complex system has become one of the topics, high-end topics of physics. And of course, we have several specialists here. Professor Grutter, for example, is a specialist of magnetic resonance imaging, as you see here. We have several very interesting devices here in Feld. Professor Mali studies really biological system and the biology of cell from the point of view of ultramicroscopy, I would say. Paolo de los Rios is a theoretician. And we have a new entry like Professor Cascala and Lenka Zagorova, were known in the field of machine learning applied to physics. And Professor Maccavia is a specialist of complex system, classes, and soft matter study from the theoretical point of view, and also from, yes, he is a theoretician, and specialist in applied physics. And I suppose that many of you are interested by quantum technology or quantum computing, because these are the really rising stars in physics. And there also we have some new entries like Giuseppe Carleo, Pasquale Scarlino, that are really specialists in the field of quantum computing and techniques to develop this kind of new technologies. Professor Nicolas Grandjean, who is the director of the physics school, he's a specialist of photonics with Dr. Raphael Butane. And for example, Professor Kippenberg, he's really a specialist of coupling between mechanical and quantum effects with quantum resonators and so on. And he has done a lot of work. He's well known in the field all over the world. Okay, so these are the domains, and of course I will be able to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. But let me go on with the presentation, and now I would like to present you the Human Science and Society program. Why this program? Because any engineering project, I'm addressing more to engineering, but I think that this can be addressed also to physicists. Any engineering project is related to society worldwide. Many projects are involving cutting-edge science, and acting as a scientist, acting as an engineer, requires competencies, also transverse competencies in the field of human science and sociology. And you know what are all the problems that occurs in the world today: the COVID crisis, global warming, and so on. So these competencies are probably more necessary than ever now. Which competencies? Here you have a list with some verbs that allow to see what are the kind of these competencies. First, understanding practices, norms, values, and the history of the social environment. So, cultural competencies. Knowing the rules and habits in which one works, practical competencies. Learning also other ways of reasoning. We are in contact between different cultures, and it's a richness. It's an opportunity. So intellectual competencies. And finally, developing the ability to perceive and express emotions. So also emotional competencies are important to control, are important to know in some way. And this is the aim of this SHS project, which is divided into 2 semesters. In the first semester, you take a course, and in the second semester, you have a project related to the course you have taken. So in the total, it is 6 credits, which are given at the end of the academic year. The language of the courses can be French, but there are very many courses that are taught in English, so no worry if you don't master French as a language. And for the evaluation, it's a mix of in-semester evaluation and project evaluation. So, in order to see the list of this project, one address, www.epfl.ch, CDH, which is the Conseil des Humanités, or Human Science department. We have a Human Science department, and there you will find all the list. So remember CDH for choosing your SHS program. Okay. Now we will talk about society, and I would like to introduce another chapter which is important, more and more important, and which concerns the behavior of the human in the society. So I would like to talk about harassment. What is harassment? Well, there is psychological or mobbing, and this is obviously what we heard very often, sexual harassment. So you have a site at PFL which deals with explicitly with these problems, and what is the position of the PFL towards this kind of behavior? That's clear. Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. So for all types of harassment. So if you witness or you are in some way a victim of this kind of behavior in the student-student relation, student-assistant student relation, or a member of the academic student and so on, all types of relations that are possible between the people that are present on campus, well, you have to report this kind of behavior. You have to, we have to, as a teacher. And of course, there are consequences. There are disciplinary investigation and sanctions is the misconduct is proven. Of course, an investigation has to be made to prove that effectively it's a case of harassment. So, what to do in those situations? We have here 2 sites. So remember, always go epfl.ch. This is always the site where you have to address for everything which is a little bit outside the academic aspect of EPFL, and you can have people to trust on individual support, and find about the support network to go.epfl.ch/respect. So the institution has means to counteract if this situation, obviously, hopefully rare, very rare, but there are. So we have to. So basically, I arrived to the end of my presentation, at least the slide presentation. And therefore, I'm ready for the questions. Very soon, we'll have the student representative, Ajipoli, that are coming within 2 minutes. So we can start the question session now, and then we can continue for a bit when they will leave the room. So I've completed this presentation. Now the start is yours. The floor is yours. And first of all, for next questions. So, yes.
I've got 2 questions, both of them related to the applied physics masters. First of all, in the initial slide, you said that your master's project, if you were to do courses, is mandatory to be in industry. But say you were to do the industry internship, could your master's project also be a continuation of your work in industry, or do you have to return to the school for your master's project?
No, it's possible. It's possible. So maybe for the live streaming, I repeat your question.
Sure.
You are in applied physics, and you have to undergo your master project, and you're asking if you went through the internship, is it possible to continue, for example, or if you had, I don't know, if you had the internship, if it is possible to continue with the master project in the company. Okay, I would like to say yes, it is possible. If you, first of all, yes, it is possible if you had an internship to have a master project in industry. This is possible. To remain in the same industry, I would say it's not advised, or it has to be done under certain conditions. Why? Because the spirit of these 2 phases of your formation is different. The internship is really full immersion in a company. So you will not really necessarily do research and development in a company. Instead, the master project is supposed to be really a research project. So if you continue in an industry, and if you continue in the same industry, the 2 things have to be separated. The master project has to be on another theme and has to be more related to research. Okay, so we will continue with the questions after the intervention of Ajipoli, irrotationnel, the association of the physics students, and you have the floor.
Do you prefer a USB key or the whole?
Oh, take it.
Okay.
The whole.
Like USB. Ah oui, c'est la chaîne. Ah, là, c'était. Je te laisse, j'ai les faut mettre sur l'écran. So we're not technical guys, you can see. The mistake here is using Linux, obviously.
No, it's not.
Here. So there was 27 Windows, so don't take it.
Okay, so hello everyone. We are the Physics Student Association, Les Irrotationnels. I'm Léa Corpus. I'm the Vice President of the association, and this is David, Leonard, and Marcelo. So
I'm also the I handle logistics with Portugal, and David here handles events. We have missions as the student association. We handle the events, as I've said, so that can be conferences related to physics, That can be apéro, that can be section dinners, stuff like that. We also prepared the section journey, which is for third-year students, via our under commission called Physique Travel. We design and distribute the section sweatshirts, which are the nice apparels that everyone can wear. I don't know if you've seen some, but this year we had the black hole. And finally, we're at the service of students. So a lot of you are coming to Switzerland for the first time. If you have any questions related to Switzerland, Lausanne, if you have anything, we're there to help you and give a student ears. So we are 8 students from all year within bachelor and master degree. And we do different things, like I said. So, for example, the conferences.
Yeah, so the past events we organized before COVID include conference with some Nobel Prize. So here it was 2 years ago with Hiroshi Amano, who won the Nobel Prize in 2014. So we do a lot of academic related stuff, but also some more students related events like physics jam, which was really nice.
Like I said, we also handled the sweatshirts. So we had the black hole last year and the year before that. But this year we're changing it. So we're going for a new logo, and we're currently holding a contest to design the new logo of the physics section. But typically what it's going to be is, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's huge. And we have different proposals, and we'll have votes in the coming weeks to determine what's going to be the logo for this year, and then we'll order them. A COVID special with COVID and everything being a bit destroyed. We try to maintain some social links, and for that we created the Discord of the physics section. For those of you who do not know, but I don't think there's a lot, Discord is a service that allows you to chat, discuss with people. And so we have a server related to the physics section that you can join, and there's a lot of discussions, games, stuff like that. We'll probably send you the link if you don't have it. That's basically it. So we also, like I said, we are 8 in the committee of the Rotationnel, but we do sometimes need a helping hand to organize the event. For example, the physics dinner is always logistics heavy. And for that, if you want to join the active member core and help us sometimes, we have a Telegram conversations dedicated to that. And we always pay back with beers, maybe. And that's basically it. Everything is supposed to be in the presentation email that you received, that they've received, that you will receive. And finally, like I said, we can answer your questions if you have some question related to how PFL works, who to contact if you have a problem, or stuff related to Lausanne, to the student life around the campus. Really anything, send us an email at rotationnel@epfl.ch, or to our EPFL page. You just type EPFL Rotationnel on your favorite browser, and it will link you to us. And that's basically it. Thank you very much for listening to us.
Thank you.
So after all the formal part, there will be an apéro upstairs. So once you finish, just wait outside. We'll bring you to the physics building, and there's like beer, chips, and chocolate awaiting. And lots of fun, I hope. Cool. So see you later. Bye.
Bye.
And now we go to see the first year students.
Bye.
Okay, so let's go to your questions. And I think that I answered to your first question, that I didn't hear the second question. So you can go on.
Okay, so my second question has to do again with the industry internship. Say I wanted to do an internship at a more academic oriented company, say, is it possible to, let's say, do an internship at ITER or something like that? Or does that not exist since it's more academic oriented?
No, the internship is really company oriented.
Okay.
Even, I would say more. The internship has to be done in a company. I always insist that sometimes students say, okay, can I do my internship in an institute of research? No, this is not possible. It must be a company, I would say, with the economic aim. So it's really a company. So internships are selected upon this main criteria.
Okay, just as a small follow-up, I don't mean to take time from everyone else, but how do we, is there like a collective list somewhere of places?
Yes, yes, you are totally helped in choosing your internship. There is a site which is dedicated to the internship that has been selected. Again, I'm the selector of the internship that has been selected for physicists, and you have a broad choice. I mean, there are every year, I would say, 30, 40 internships, and there is a choice of more than 200. So the choice is really broad in Switzerland, abroad. It's really a large choice. You will find certain internship that you like.
Okay.
And the internships are generally a big success. Student like, company like very much have having physicists in their company. They find that our physicists are well prepared and they give practically 100% satisfaction in their internship. Yes.
Yeah, I have a similar question. You said that we can do master's thesis in the industry, but is it related to the work I do in the internship, or it's separate things?
It's a separate thing. It's a separate thing in the sense that if you, as I presented the study plan, I said if you are an engineer and you have the internship, you are not obliged to take your master project, master thesis in a company, but it can be done. And I answered to your schoolmate saying that in this case, if you had the internship and then you take a master project in a company, in principle, they have to be separated. Ideally, they should be in different companies. If it is in the same companies, there are constraints. The master project cannot be really the follow-up of what you have done during the internship.
Oh.
Yes.
Une question sur Internet. Is it possible to do some more credits than 16 for the first year?
Yes, yes. So I repeat your question. Someone asked if it is possible to have more than 60 credits. The 60 is the lower limit, but sometimes, you know, if you match the credits, you can have courses with 5 credits, courses with 4, and you end up with 61, 62. It's absolutely possible. It's possible to do even more, but of course, 60 credits is already a lot. So I would not advise to overcharge your master studies, but it's possible. Yes, oh, many questions. Yes.
Okay, it was list of the laboratories available, and one of the laboratory is Laboratory of Particle Physics and Cosmology. And as far as I know, this laboratory will end its existence in October. Is it right?
Oh, there is one laboratory, which is the laboratory of Professor Shaposnikov, which will end to exist temporarily, but at the end of October, because Professor Shaposnikov is retired.
So it is not possible to do semester project with Professor Shaposnikov?
No, it's not possible because he is retiring. He will not. He is still teaching, but he will not be able to supervise projects. But this laboratory, there is a little bit of discontinuity. Will start again with that professor who will come within a year or so. So, but
when-
semester project with Professor Shaposhnikov is not possible.
Okay, and when does this laboratory will restart?
I would say within a year, something like that.
Okay.
But if you are really interested in the this kind of fields, I would advise you to take maybe a project with Professor Joao Penedones, for example. Or if you are interested in practical cosmology, then of course you have a full choice of professors.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, there was a question just behind. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I was wondering, if for the physics master, is the master project has to be in a different on a different topic from the topic in the specialization?
No, it can be the same lab. Then there is even, I would say, is a frame that we have envisaged for the specialization project, is that if you aim to do research, sometimes the the master thesis over 4 months is relatively short. And to get familiar with some advanced technologies and so on, it's a good thing to make the specialization project and the master thesis in the same lab.
And is it possible to the master thesis? Is it only like 4 months, or is it possible to extend it with?
Okay, thank you for the question. This is a good question. We have a rule that is, if you take the master project in a lab inside EPFL, inside the physics at EPFL, this is 4 months, 17 weeks. You have to see that the master project is under relatively strict rules about timing, because it's part of your study plan. So it is 17 weeks, exactly 17 weeks for the master project in EPFL, and must be 25 weeks outside EPFL. If it is another lab outside the EPFL, or if it is a company, it must be 25 weeks. Yes. Okay.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Is it possible to do the TP4 lab in the second and the third semester?
Yes. Yes, it is possible.
Okay, fantastic. And maybe, is there a minimum amount of credits that one has to pay?
For the, no, it's completely separated. To take the TP4, there is no credit limit before taking.
I meant like in general. So the thing is, I work part-time, and it would be a bit more comfortable to do like 25 credits a semester. Semesters, roughly.
Okay, thank you for the question. There is another rule. That is, the timing of your master must be not more than 4 years. So it's possible to dilute the time of your master. Of course, there are drawbacks, but it's possible to dilute the time of your master up to 4 years, but not more. Huh? This is strict.
Yes.
But it's possible to dilute and take a little bit less credit if you want to have a job aside and so on. So it's possible. Maybe it's your case.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Can I go on? About 6 credits that you can take in other faculties. Like, how likely is it that if, say, I propose any other subject, that it gets accepted? Like, what are the boundaries?
Oh, the boundary is very simple. The subject must be pertinent with a physics master. That, for example, sometimes I receive requests. Most of the time, the request that I deny a request of courses in the field of economics, or let's say big data, computer vision, and so on. It must be physics.
Okay.
but physics in the broad sense. It can be meteorology, it can be snow science, I don't know, but it must be physics.
Thanks.
Yes.
Well, another question for applied physics that if we choose to take a minor or more specialized courses in the third semester, so are we obliged to do our degree project in industry but not on campus?
Yes.
And in that case, the time of the degree project is 25 weeks, right?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
The time of industry is considered outside the TFL, so it must be 25 weeks.
Oh.
The internship, it's more flexible. The internship can be, the law says, from 4 to 6 months. So I don't advise to make 4 months. 4 months is very short for the internship. It's much better to make 5, and even 6 is very good. Yes.
Can also physicists do internship or not? And if it is so, is there, I mean, can I acquire some credits or not?
Can you repeat the question?
Can also physicists do the internship or not?
No, the internship is not part of the physicist study plan. There are some physicists that would like to take a 3 months internship, for example, during summer vacation and so on. But this is, I mean, it's outside your study plan. It's spontaneous and so on. So the physics school does not take part into this. Yes.
I have a question about what there is a lot of labs in like condensed matter physics or plasma, but is there any like labs which is specialized in photonics or optics?
Oh, I mean, the choice is really broad. I mean, as I said, you can really mix the domain.
Yeah.
So you're not at all, let's say, tightened to take all courses or most of courses in plasma physics or most courses in condensed matter physics. There is no obligation. This is just a question of classifying.
But my question is there any labs which is specialized in like optics and photonics in the physics section?
Yes. Optics and photonics, I would say Professor Grandjean lab, Professor Nicolas Grandjean, who is the director of the physics school. It's really photonics. Then there is Professor Houdret. It's more theoretical. Houdret, Houdre, and Professor Grantou, but it's really quantum physics oriented.
Okay, thank you.
But we have these 3 names. But if you need some advice about choices, address to the physics school, and maybe one address. If you need some information, you can write to either the secretary or directly SPH. CH.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, thanks. In practice, if we're interested by a specialization semester, is it necessarily in the same lab where we did our typical project, or can we change?
No, you can change. There is, I would say, it's very flexible. You can take a physics project 1 in a lab, physics project 2 in another lab, and specialization project in a third lab. It's not my advice, because of course, you can try maybe 2 labs. This is a good thing, but then you need a certain continuity. Also, in the view of your master project, I would say take your master project in a lab that you already know. This is really my advice.
Okay, thank you. So it is common to choose the lab for the master thesis, the same lab as we did our specializations.
Yes, it's very common. It's very common because it's really why this specialization semester has been introduced in our study plan. Yes.
When do we have to choose whether to do a specialization semester, a minor, or just take other courses?
At the end of the first year. But I would say some labs are quite requested for the specialization project. So you might encounter the fact that the lab has all the places that are full, and you cannot go to the lab you would like to.
No session.
Yes, 2 questions more, because I have another presentation.
I wanted to know, is it possible for a master physics student to do a specialization and a master physics in a company, or is it just for applied physics students?
No, it's possible in the sense that the specialization project, as I was saying, is also a possibility for the students that are in physics that would like to work in a lab. It's not in an industry. It can even be in a company. The specialization project can even be in a company. The rule is really that you have to find a professor that supervises. But it can be. Yes.
So I have a question concerning the third semester. So as I understand, you either go for extra courses or a minor or a specialization semester.
Yes.
Is there some sort of maybe a chance of mixing between a specialization semester and extra courses, or is it
yes, in a sense. As I said, the specialization semester is under the supervision of the professor. There are some professors, in particular the theoreticians, that have, let's say, set a frame for their specialization semester where they ask compulsorily to the student to follow 3 advanced courses. These are even courses that are doctoral courses, and has to be taken if you take, for example, a specialization semester with the theoreticians.
Okay.
So it's possible, and under supervision of the professor. Yes, last question.
2 quick questions. First is, in the second semester, we will have the same course list as the first semester?
Yes, but courses are given only during a certain semester. So that's why we have this division, MA1, MA2. It means that MA1 are the courses that are taught during this autumn semester, and MA2 are the courses that are given during this summer, spring semester. Of course, if you dilute your courses over the 3 semesters, you can mix, and you can report, for example, a course that you didn't take in the first semester to the third. This is possible. So you are not.
This course list are taught in the third semester or in first and second semester?
There are courses that are taught in autumn semester now, and there are courses that are taught in spring. So what is called the third semester study is mostly composed of courses that are taught during the autumn semester, but not all. That means that you have very often, the students make their master over 2.5 years, for example. And this allows you to mix. So some courses that you take for MA3, if you decide to take these additional semester courses, they go into this block, let's say, but it might be taken now, they are not have to be taken. There is no time frame for taking the courses. All courses can be taken anytime.
Okay, and second question is there any strict distribution of us to laboratories, to like sections? For example, if I want to study plasma, I will take only plasma courses and get specialization in plasma.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's not compulsory. Your professor, if you go to a lab, would advise you to take, if you go to plasma, take plasma physics. courses, 1, 2, 3, I don't know, but you are not obliged. There is no rule or strict rule, I would say.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Very quick question.
Very short, it's just about diluting. If you do this dilution, is there something you have to announce, or is it just about not taking enough courses? So to say?
No. It's something that there is no constraint about taking a course before and after. Okay. I really have to go.